They say the stock market is a bubble, but that's ridiculous. It's actually a fire. Is the stock market a bubble? Is it going to burst? Is it going to crash? Is it inflated? Hey folks, my name is Alex. I make videos about personal finance, investing, and philosophy. And in this video, I want to talk about the idea of the stock market as a bubble. And that the stock market as a bubble is a very poor analogy. Not only that, there are better analogies. And maybe we should even ask the question, should we even be using analogies to describe the stock market? But before we begin, you know the rigmarole. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. I hope that you enjoy this content. And without further ado, let's talk about the analogy of the stock market as a bubble. So first off, from a literal sense, no, the stock market is not a bubble. Bubbles are these micelles that are formed. They create these circles and they pop, they burst, and they're gone, and that's it. We even use the terms inflated as if we were blowing up a balloon or blowing up a bubble, and that it pops and then is gone. But that's not what we mean when we say that the stock market is in a bubble and it's going to crash. When we say that there is a crash, we mean that there's going to be a huge loss in the overall market, things like the S&P 500 losing something like 30% of its value, all types of different asset classes across a wide variety of sectors all decrease. That's what we refer to when we say a crash. But it doesn't go away indefinitely. It just may stay low for a little bit and slowly works its way up. Now, a significantly better analogy to the stock market would actually be when we think about a fire, we think about three elements: fuel, oxygen, and a spark, some kind of catalyst that gets a combustion reaction to go, because that's actually what's happening. You have some kind of hydrocarbon plus oxygen, and you usually need some kind of catalyst in order to create carbon dioxide and water, which is the fire, the energy that is perhaps a better analogy for the stock market. So fuel can be thought of as people, money, capital, just general businesses. As we have more people, as we have more money that is dumped into the market, we have more fuel for that fire to grow. Oxygen can be thought of as methods of investing, with things like smartphones and apps and trading fees going down with various different investing platforms. The ability to trade and invest into the market has gotten easier, which also increases the stock market. And the spark can be something like a new technology, a growth stock, something that is very exciting that a lot of people are now interested in putting that oxygen and fuel together to actually create a fire. And similarly, when money is taken out of the market, you can start to see that, well, stocks tend to decrease. There's not as much trading volume. And then when you pump money into the stock market through, say, I don't know, stimulus, because everyone became a day trader basically when they got that stimulus money, the market subsequently went up. There was more trading activity, more volume, there were more methods of trading, and so the market consequently went up. So I liken the stock market to a fire as a better analogy. It doesn't necessarily go out completely, but it can increase and it can decrease. The flame can get hotter and brighter, but also it can become dimmer over time. Now you might be saying to yourself, well, Alex, there may be some cases where this analogy actually breaks down, and well, what about high-speed trading? What about this company? What about hedge fund? What about this? How does that fit into the analogy of fire? And I'm really glad that you made this point, because it's a great segue into my next section. So we know that a bubble is a poor analogy for the stock market, and that fire may be a better analogy for the stock market. But this brings me to the point of just analogies in general. Analogies are great when we're trying to learn something for the first time. We take something that we don't know and try to relate it to something that we do know. It helps us at least start to think about it, piece it together. But analogies are not very good in the long term. You need to really understand what exactly is that thing. The stock market is very complicated. There are some very interesting and useful fundamental principles that you should know about it. But to relate it to something like a bubble, or that it can be inflated, break, or crash, shatter into pieces. Oh, no, I wasn't talking about you. It's okay. You're not the stock market. But analogies over the long term may not be the best strategy for really understanding what's happening in any kind of situation. Especially in science, there's a concept in physical chemistry called entropy. And it's usually taught in classes as randomness. When you go from the liquid phase to a gas phase, the entropy is increased because, well, things are more random. The universe wants things to be random. But that's not what entropy is. Entropy is just that the number of available states that a molecule can take has increased. The state of the molecule in the gas phase just has more available states than the state of a molecule in the liquid phase or the solid phase. I digress. But I would encourage you to think about analogies only as a tool for getting started, but then eventually making the effort to really learn and understand whatever that thing is, that subject, that material, and not rely on an analogy as a way of thinking about it. Because, truthfully, it's not the truth. The stock market is a very complicated tool, and there are many analogies that can be used to describe and help educate you on the stock market. And these are good. You do want to educate yourself on the stock market, what it is, and certainly what it is not. But after a certain point, you've probably listened to many personal finance and investing YouTubers. You should make it a point to really learn, to dive into exactly what certain things are, especially when it comes to the market, when it comes to certain financial tools. What is a stock? What is an option? What is a bond? What is an index fund? Knowing what these things are exactly as opposed to what you think they are, or what an analogy treats them as, is very important. And on the subject of fire, it is Hanukkah, and so what better way than to celebrate the Festival of Lights than to make the analogy of the stock market as fire. Alright folks, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, subscribe. If you celebrate, I hope you have a healthy and safe Hanukkah. Chag Sameach, and I'll see you soon.